Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jasodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jasodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishubhad Paramahamsa Pradipajagacharya Ashtotara Sata Sri Srimad Chisvandes Esi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishubhad Paramahamsa Pradipajagacharya Ashtotara Sata Sri Srimad Chisvandes Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kundiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ki Jai Sri Sri Gaunitai Ki Jai Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi all glory Sudha Samadivatis, all glory Sudha Samadivatis, all glory Sudha Samadivatis, all glory to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga, all glory to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasabhutade, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Prashadini, Nirvesesha Sunnavadi Pastata Devatharini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth skanda, 9th chapter, sloka number 51-52. So number 51 doesn't have any purports. I shall read it word to word. Tam sasamsuhu janaha ragyem dishtya te putraha artiha pratilabdhaha chiram nashtaha rakshita mandalam bhuvaha tam sasamsur jana ragyem dishyate putra artiha pratilabdas chiram nashto rakshita mandalam bhuvaha. Tam, unto Queen Suniti, Sasamsuhu offered praise, Janaha, the people in general, Ragim unto the queen, Dishtya, by fortune, te, your, putraha, son, artiha, will vanquish all your pains. Pratilabdhaha, now returned, chiram, since a long time, nashtaha, lost, rakshita, will protect, mandalam, the globe, bhuvaha, earthly. Translation: the residents of the palace praised the queen. Dear queen, your beloved son was lost a long time ago, and it is your great fortune that he now has come back. It appears, therefore, that your son will be able to protect you for a very long time and will put an end to all your material pangs. Please repeat. The residents of the palace praise the queen. Dear queen, your beloved son was lost a long time ago, and it is your great fortune that he now has come back. It appears, therefore, that your son will be able to protect you for a very long time and will put an end to all your material pangs. Sloka number 52. Abhyarchitaha tvaya nunam bhagavan pranata artiha yat anudhyayinaha dhiraha mrityum jigyuhu sudurjayam abhyarchitastvaya nunam bhagavan pranitartiha bhagavan pranatartiha yadanudhyayino dhira mrityum jigyu sudurjayam abhyarchitastvaya nunam bhagavan pranatartiha yadanudhyayino dhira mrityum jigyu sudurjayam. Sri Sri Gaunitai ki jai, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ki jai. Abhyarchita tvaya nunam Bhagavan pranatartiha yadanudhyayino dhira mrityum jigyu sudurjayam. You have very good sight. Vaishnavis, Abhyarchitaha, worshipped Tvaya, by you, Nunam. However, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pranata Artiha, who can deliver his devotees from the greatest danger, yet whom Anudhyayanaha, constantly meditating upon, Dhiraha, great saintly persons, Mrityum, death, Jigyuhu, conquered, Sudurjayam, which is very, very difficult to overcome. Translation: Dear Queen, you must have worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who delivers his devotees from the greatest danger. Persons who constantly meditate upon him surpass the course of birth and death. This perfection is very difficult to achieve. Please repeat. Dear Queen, you must have worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who delivers his devotees from the greatest danger. Persons who constantly meditate upon him surpass the course of birth and death. This perfection is very difficult to achieve. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Dhruva Maharaj was the lost child of Queen Suniti, but during his absence, she always meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is able to rescue his devotee from all dangers. While Dhruva Maharaj was absent from his home, not only did he undergo severe austerities in the forest of Madhuvan, but at home also, his mother prayed to the Supreme Lord for his safety and good fortune. In other words, the Lord was worshipped by both the mother and the son, and both were able to achieve the supreme benediction from the Supreme Lord. The word Sudurjayam, an adjective which indicates that no one can conquer death, is very significant. When Dhruva Maharaj was away from his home, his father thought that he was dead. Ordinarily, a king's son, only 5 years old, and away from home in the forest, would certainly be supposed dead. But by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only was he saved, but he was blessed with the highest perfection. Om Agyan Atimrandasya Dhyananjana Salakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavansya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitansya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Padama Bihari Vancha Kalpaturubhaskya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In this chapter, Dhruva Maharaj returns home. It was announced in the palace of the eminent return of Dhruva, the son of King Uttanapad. At that time, everybody became very joyful, and the king made all the arrangements for the welcome of his son, Dhruva. So all the associates of the king, and also the two mothers, Suniti, Suruchi, and also Dhruva's brother, Uttama, they came and with great jubilation, they met Dhruva Maharaj and they welcomed him so affectionately, embracing him. And the king and then the two queens also received the son of Suniti, was received so warmly by his family members. So when all of them come back to the city and the palace, the inhabitants of the palace also become very happy to see this reunion, all the Dhruva having come back to the palace. And they are praising the queen. They are telling the queen that you are very fortunate, that your beloved son was apparently lost a long time ago, and it is your great fortune that he has now come back. Then certainly your son will be able to protect you for a very long time, and he'll put an end to all your material pangs, anxieties. So that is the dialogue, or this is the welcome of the inhabitants of the palace, especially to Queen Suniti. They are praising Queen Suniti, and they are very happy, because all this time she was most very sad because of the absence of her son. Then they are also telling that, dear Queen, it is certainly because you have worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, that your son has not come back. The Supreme Lord Bhagavan is famous for giving protection to his devotees and to all those who are praying to him for such protection. So you must have worshipped the Lord during all this time, and therefore now your son has come back to you, and we are all feeling very fortunate to see this. They are telling that even the great sages, they meditate for a very, very long time on the Supreme Lord. And ultimately, if they are fortunate enough, they can overcome the problem of birth and death. Mrityum jigyu sudorchayam. The death is overcome only by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by great sages who are constantly meditating upon Him. Otherwise, death is impossible to overcome. Sudurjayam. You cannot conquer over death. That is not possible. Death is there, but rebirth becomes conquered by those who are meditating or worshipping the Supreme Lord with great devotion. So this is the address by the inhabitants of the city palace to the Queen, which is very important, give us a very good lesson that anyone who wants to be safe, anyone who needs special protection, anyone who thinks that he cannot protect himself must take shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Only Krishna can protect, nobody else. as it was exhibited by Lord Krishna in his pastimes in Vrindavan on many occasions. The Lord protected the inhabitants of Vrindavan from all the demons who had come to kill him and to harass the inhabitants of Vrindavan, just like Casey or so many others, this big bull, Arishtasura. And also Lord Krishna protected the inhabitants of Vrindavan from fire. Sometimes there was a forest fire, just like after conquering over Kaliya, there was a forest fire, and all the gopis and gopas, they were thinking, now we are finished, the forest fire is going to swallow us. But Krishna, they call, oh Krishna, Krishna, please come and save us from this forest fire. And Krishna saved the inhabitants, either by swallowing the fire or putting down the fire on different occasions. Lord Krishna subdued the fire. So in this way, Lord Krishna proved that he is the only one who can protect. And all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they knew very well, they had complete confidence that only Lord Krishna can save us from all these disturbances. And at the time of when the Indra Yagya was stopped by Lord Krishna, then Indra became very much upset and started to call all the big clouds and pouring water on Govardhan and Vrindavan. So at that time also, the Vrindavan, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan were going to drown in the water, but they thought only Krishna is there and he is the one who can save us. So they prayed to Krishna, please save us from these tornadoes sent by Indra. And Lord Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill for 7 days. And in this way, saved the inhabitants of Vrindavan from this calamity. Not only human beings, but also the animals, plants, and everyone in Vrindavan was saved in this way. So, in this way, Lord Krishna has proven in his pastimes on many occasions that he is the only one who can protect his devotees. And there are many other examples of Lord Vishnu also protecting his devotee, just like when Gajendra was attacked by the crocodile. Gajendra, powerful elephant, was thinking, I can subdue this crocodile. I can, but he could not do anything for many thousands of years. And finally he thought that, what can we do now? Nothing can be done. The only one who can save me from this situation, Lord Vishnu. And he offered a flower to Lord Vishnu. As Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Parachati Tadaham Bhakti Uparitam Asnami Prayatatmana. Lord Krishna accepts a simple flower, a leaf, or Patram Pushpam Phalam, a fruit, or water, if it is offered with devotion. So Gajendra here offered a flower, and he was protected by Lord Vishnu, who came immediately and cut the head of the crocodile. So on other occasions also, Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu protected his devotees. So this is the principle of surrender. When one is on the path of devotional service, one of the main attitude of the devotee is surrender. As Lord Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam bhaja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishami masuja. I will deliver you, my devotee, if you surrender unto me, giving up all other systems, processes of religious principles. You simply surrender to me, then I'll protect you. So that is the protection offered, promised by Lord Krishna. Kaunteya parijani name bhakta pranashyati. That is also another promise. Lord Krishna makes Arjuna speak that I'll protect my devotee in all circumstances. So the devotee surrenders in this way with faith, shraddha, vishwas must be there. Then the surrender should be done. There are 6 limbs of the process of prabhati. The first one being to accept things which are favorable to devotional service. Another one is to not to accept or to neglect, to refuse the things which are unfavorable to devotional service. The third item is to have complete faith that only the Lord will protect me. Rakshasyati iti visvasaha. To have this firm faith in the protection of the Lord. Then number 4 item is that to have also the firm faith that the Lord only will maintain me. He will nourish and He will maintain me. And the 5th item is Atma Nivedana, self-surrender. And the 6th item is humility. Complete humility means that I cannot do anything. I am the most worthless person and I have nothing to offer. I have no punya. Whatever I am doing, all useless activities, waste of time. I have no determination, but I am simply out of helplessness, surrendering myself unto your lotus feet. So with great faith and confidence, the devotee should surrender in this manner, following all these 6 items according to the Acharya's teachings, including Ramanuja also he mentioned the same items, Rupa Goswami and other great Acharyas. They have given us this description of the process of surrender. So here are the item of firm belief that the Lord will protect us. That is put into focus in these slokas. So that is the lesson today that we can derive from this Srimad Bhagavatam, that most of the people are trying to protect themselves. Even when there is some danger, they'll try to call this one, my son, my grandson, my friend, and so on, to seek protection. They think that they can be protected in this manner. But the devotees of the Lord have another plan. They have a different consciousness. They do not believe that anybody or anything in this world can protect us. Because the world is built in such a manner, it will be destroyed. It cannot save anybody. It is a source of birth and death, and at any moment there can be disaster and nobody can escape. So we have sufficient experience that nothing and nobody in this world can protect us from doom, from death, and then ultimately rebirth. So the devotees of the Lord, they don't have any confidence in anything material from this world. They don't have confidence in them also, in themselves. They don't consider this body to be strong enough, or their mind to be strong enough, their intelligence to be sufficiently developed. Even though in the material world, so many people are engaged in the protection of humankind. So many are engaged in fabricating weapons of mass destruction, WMD, weapons of mass destruction. So they accumulate these weapons. Sometimes there are discussions between Prabhupada and the disciples. They are discussing about what is this accumulation of deadly weapons, atomic and nuclear weapons. Prabhupada used to say that definitely at one time in the future, they will use these weapons. Why they should store these weapons for no use? It costs a lot of money. It is very difficult to hide. So at one time they will have to use them, and then there will be catastrophe in the world. Many thousands and millions of people will have to be killed. So that is one way of so-called protection, fabricating weapons for self-defense, national defense schemes and all that. The governments are all busy, and it is the number one expenditure in most of the governments in the world, that fabricating weapons for defense, considering this neighbor is an enemy, this one is enemy, like that. So protection, everybody wants protection, and then protecting one's body. The doctors are also very busy manufacturing new medicines, vaccines, and so on. So much money is being invested in that also. That takes also a lot of resources from the nation, the national health programs. So that is also another type of protection that materialistic people are trying. But ultimately, we can understand that all these schemes for protection are of no use. What is the death rate? The people are talking about birth rate, 3%, 4%, 5%. Prabhupada used to ask his disciples, well, that is the birth rate. What about death rate? Prabhupada is asking. So disciples, they are not able to understand how to answer that question. Death rate. So Prabhupada has to tell them, death rate, 100%. That is the only sure. The only certainty is that everybody will die in course of time according to previous karma, destiny, and so on. Nobody can be protected from death. So here it says that mrityum jigyu sudurjayam. It is not possible to protect oneself from death. Then why the inhabitants are telling that you have conquered death by worshipping the Supreme Lord? So Lord Krishna says, no doubt, and on many occasions, Lord Krishna saved his devotees from the attack of death. But the more important is that Lord Krishna protects his devotees from the forgetfulness. What is death? Death of the body is one thing, and that is not very important, because again and again we are getting new bodies. But a greater calamity than the death of the body, end of the body, is a forgetfulness of Krishna. That is much more dangerous. To forget Krishna means everything is finished. Even if I have a beautiful body, very well constructed, very strong and intelligent and so on, if I am not conscious of Krishna, then my life is completely useless, and I will go down to the hellish planets for many, many thousands of years. So more important than the protection of the body is protection of the soul proper. And this is what we have to understand from Lord Krishna's assurance that Name Bhakta Pranashyati, my devotee will never perish, meaning that my devotee's devotion, the Krishna consciousness of my devotee, his sweet remembrance, his sweet worship and devotion, that will never perish. And that is what Lord Krishna is protecting specifically, besides protecting the body for some time, but ultimately the body also has to go. That is as sure as death. So either death comes early or comes late, but even for the great yogis, they may live thousands of years. Ultimately, they have to give up their body. But the main teaching is, while leaving the body, remembrance of Lord Krishna, that is what they have practiced for all these years, either thousands of years, or in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, 6 months he practiced remembrance of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. In this way he was protected in all respects. So remembrance of the Lord in full dedication, full surrender, that is what is wanted. But the materialistic people, they are thinking, let us protect this body, because they simply identify the body with their essence. They think that there is nothing beyond the body. So in this way, the devotees of the Lord receive protection from the Lord in full surrender, in full humility, dhanya, that I cannot do anything. I want to remain at your lotus feet, and I just want to engage myself in your service of your lotus feet. Please grant me this prayer. I am completely useless. I am most insignificant. Even at the end, after this, I leave this body, I don't mind if I can take birth as a worm. No, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling. Even as a worm, but my prayer is, even as a worm, I want to take birth in the house of a devotee. That is a prayer. That because even as a worm, I will have opportunity to eat Mahaprasad. So that will be my great happiness and satisfaction. I may not be able to do anything more than that as a worm, simply eating Mahaprasad. So the prayer of devotees are like that, in full surrender and utmost humility, praying for the Lord, for the protection. Here, Suniti is not asking for her own protection. She is asking for the protection of her son. And this is an additional act of devotion on her part. And Lord Vishnu is very much eager to satisfy the prayer of Suniti. She is also a great devotee, just like her son Dhruva. So both of them, during this period of time, they prayed to the Lord for complete protection. And the Lord heard their prayers, and He could fulfill their prayer. Those who don't have complete faith in the Lord, as Srila Prabhupada gave the example, that during the Second World War, all the German people, males, were engaged in fighting and in the war field. And the wives of the soldiers, they were going to the church and they were praying, "Oh, my dear Lord, please save my husband. He's now fighting in the war. Please give him safety." and let him come back to our house safely after the war is over anytime. Please assure safety for my husband. So that was a prayer of the wives of the soldiers during the Second World War in Germany. Especially Prabhupada mentioned this example. After the war is over, husband is not coming back. Their husband, soldiers, all of them were killed in the war. War was won by the Allies against the Germans, and thousands and millions of soldiers were killed in this manner. So all these wives, they were completely frustrated. We prayed so much to God, and He has not fulfilled our prayers. What kind of God is this? We don't want this God. And they never went back to the church anymore after that. That is that type of faith that is not strong enough, not strong. That is a materialistic attitude without humility, without all the items of surrender. They are thinking that God is my order carrier. Whatever I ask, He should supply. Otherwise, what is the use of going to church and make prayers? So this was their attitude. So after that, then they never went to church anymore, and they became atheists. So that is, many people are becoming atheists in this way because they do not have the proper attitude, as Suniti had, or even as Prahlad or Dhruva Maharaj had, all the great devotees of the Lord mentioned in the Bhagavatham. They had this attitude of full surrender, humility, and so on, praying with a very humble attitude. In this way, their prayers were fulfilled. Another example, similarly, that the Chinese people, they wanted to, when they took over the government, the communists, they took over government in the revolution, and they wanted to stop the God consciousness. They are thinking these churches are useless establishments. They are simply a hindrance, an obstacle to our government. So they want to stop people from going to the church. So there is some idea. Let us go to the church. At the end, when the Mass is over, people are coming out of the church. Let us go there at that time. So they brought their lorries full of bread. And people are seeing these lorries. What is this? And so the Communist Party members, they're telling, you see, you are praying for, oh God, give us our daily bread. Does God give you bread? He doesn't give you bread. You have to go to the shop, you have to purchase, spend so much money, and so on. So much endeavor for your daily maintenance. God is not giving you bread. He is not going to do so also in the future. We are the ones. We brought a lorry full of bread, and they started to distribute their bread, cakes and all that. We are the ones who can feed you. So therefore, you give up this religious practice, so-called believing in God, prayer to God. You give up that, and you simply put your faith in us. Communist Party will do everything for you. So in this way, many people are convinced because their faith was very insignificant. They were going to church out of some type of habit, social habit, without really believing in God or in Krishna. But the real Lord Krishna is really the personality of Godhead, Bhoktaram, Yagdatabasam, Sarvaloka Maheswaram, Surinam, Sarvabhutanam, Yadvamam, Santi Murichati. Anyone who puts his strong faith with all humility and surrender at the feet of Lord Krishna, certainly his prayers will be fulfilled by the grace of the Lord. So we can end here. Any questions or comments? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.